Welcome everybody. Everybody's jumping the gun on me saying this is not live, that is not live, because I normally don't do this, but we are on air, and let me invite some people here, and I need to post this in the open forum. Let's see, tonight's Hangout. I'll go to open forum. Okay, open forum. New topic. I normally don't post it in open forum, but TO paste post. Come on, things so darn slow. Okay, at the bench. New topic. Friday night hangout. Friday. Okay. Oh man. Too many chefs in the kitchen. Paste. Post. All right, we'll see with all this nonsense if we get anybody coming in. Let's go back to the live stream screen. There we are. All right. We got how many viewers here? 9 viewers. All right. Sorry it took so long, guys, but everybody's trying to get ahead of me. Rusty's posting videos. Charles is doing some other type thing. I don't know. So anyway, we got it up and running. Hope you we got 9 people watching. Hopefully there was somebody that wanted to come in here. Let's see if we can get them in here. Phone. There we go. Yeah, the link is right at the top. And it's the wrong show. Tell them to come into the other link. Just tell them to come in the other link. Yeah. All right, guys. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye. All right, we got everybody scrambling around. They're I don't know. I guess this is a pretty important thing to do. The live show. And the reason that I'm doing it tonight instead of Rusty is that Rusty is on vacation. Let's move this back. Rusty's on vacation, so I'll do this for a couple hours. There's Charles, and can you guys all hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Hear you.
Okay, great. Okay. Uh-oh, here comes somebody. And John. Okay, great. Oh, John, you got your mic turned off and your camera turned off. Let me Oh, there you go. All right. Welcome everybody to the Friday night hangout. I normally don't do the show. It's Rusty, but he's on vacation, so we're into my shop for a couple hours, and I'm getting ready to head back to Dayton. So I'm finishing up as much work as I can here in my main shop. So whatever you guys want to talk about, let her rip.
I'd like to thank you for that video on the tip weight box. That was excellent.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
that's just the way I've done it for 30 years. It's just so simple.
Yeah, but it's still good to see it. You know, sometimes you can see something you didn't see in your own practice of doing things, and so it's always good to see how other people do the same thing. You know.
Is that how you do it?
No, I thought it was much superior than the way I do it. You know, I mean, I pretty much just mount that plywood box into the wing. I like your idea of having the balsa around it. You know.
Takes 30 minutes for a perfect fit. So
Yeah.
and that's 30 minutes making a movie. I probably can do it a little faster if I wasn't shooting a movie.
Right.
I'm going to do a little superfill tonight as soon as I get the workspace cleared off. And we'll rearrange the camera and I'll show you what I'm doing.
All right. I went flying today and got my Strega, and so I had logged 400 flights on that Strega from the time that I first flew it.
wow.
So today's kind of a milestone. Other planes have probably had that many flights, but I've never had a flight log, you know, where it's documented. You know.
That's really good.
Yeah. Well, that was the good news. The bad news is that I was feeling a vibration from the, I thought it was a prop. And I noticed it last week when I flew it. And
Let me guess, the spinner's hitting the nose ring.
no, I think I got to take off the cover plate or back plate to check it out. But I think I might have a worn conrod somewhere. Either it's worn at the crankshaft or it's worn at the piston.
I got two questions. What's vibration and what's a conrod?
Well, you know what a conrod is, right? The thing that connects the piston to the crankshaft.
A long time ago.
I can barely hear you, Bob.
Well, some people would say that's a blessing. How do I turn it up?
Go to up. Take your mouse pointer and go to the top of the screen.
Settings.
You'll see a microphone there.
Yeah.
Click on that. Maybe I can turn you up from this end. I don't know.
Go to settings.
I know I can shut you off from this end, but I don't know whether I can turn you up.
Don't tell my wife that's possible.
Let's see here. I can't turn you up, but
don't worry about it. I'll just listen harder.
Hold on.
Running Windows?
I'm on a Mac here, so.
Go down to your speaker in the lower right corner on your taskbar.
From the top, okay.
You right click on it, go to speaker properties, it'll have microphone volume in there. Lower right.
System preferences.
Got Windows 10?
I don't have Windows. I'm Mac.
Oh, never mind. Can't help you with that.
How about, does that help at all? Does that help?
I can still hear you. We can hear you. Not any louder, but you probably just can't sit. You probably just can't lean back.
Okay.
And you're not alone. It's other people sometimes that join us and their mics are low. I can think of at least 2 other people. Sometimes their mics are kind of low.
Huh.
We can deal with that.
Like I said, it could be a blessing.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I was sitting really fat and happy. The contest I'm preparing for, not until October. And I was thinking, man, I've never been in a position to be so prepared for this contest, because usually when I'm getting ready for a contest, something happens. You know, last year too, the same motor, I broke a crank. And actually it was just running. I didn't crash it, but this is a used motor. And I suspect that when the person crashed the plane, it might have had a microscopic fracture that just over a period of time of running it, it just, separated. And then, so I went and bought a new crankcase and crankshaft and cover plate. It's a Stalker motor. It's the motor made in Ukraine. But I didn't think to replace the conrod. And so I'm thinking, in hindsight, that would have been a good thing to do. But I didn't. So I'm thinking it could be some worn out bushings. But I'll open up the engine maybe this weekend and check it out.
Not thinking of going to Tucson in September.
Say it again?
Asked if you're going to Tucson.
Oh, I don't believe so. Funds are just so limited. I just count on my nickels to go to the Golden State Stunt Championship.
That'd be a better event anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bob, have you ever been out to the Golden State Stunt Championship?
Yeah, matter of fact, I went one year with Phil Granderson. I was out there visiting Phil on AMA business. Phil's in the printing industry.
Right.
At the time, I was working for AMA, and they needed a new plotter for the plans, department. And Phil said he knew someone out there who sold them. So I went out to visit, and it happened to be the same weekend that Golden State was going on. So we went down to it together. He let me his Diva to fly, which was a great airplane. We had a lot of fun there.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's a nice contest, huh?
That's back when it was on that grass field.
Oh, okay.
The
I've never been to that location. I think I started going there 2013. So since I've been there, it's been at the Madera Municipal Airport, which has been commissioned, but it's not used. So it's a absolutely beautiful asphalt surface. And there's a host hotel, which is less than a half a mile away from there. You could walk there. Of course, you couldn't walk there with your plane and fly box and all that, unless you was just in extremely good shape. But it's a real nice facility. It's my favorite contest. And then, like you probably saw there at the one you went to, then we have some great talent that shows up and beautiful planes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a chance to fly David's Thundergate.
Oh wow!
It was very enlightening how he had it trimmed. It's exactly how we used to trim our airplanes. And Sparky and I were talking about this the other day. It's exactly like we used to trim our airplanes back in the 70s. We had those laser type corners. We were using a nose heavy.
Carol.
With a lot of control throw and a speedier system than we're using today. So they were able to get around corners a lot quicker and stabilize after the corner because the CG was further forward. So it was an interesting concept, and I'm starting to build again a little bit, and I'm going to do that. Finish this airplane. Who do we have here? We knew.
Carol.
That's Gerald.
Who is it?
Gerald from New Zealand.
Bob.
Bill, is it?
Gerald.
Gerald. Oh, I'm sorry, Gerald. I'm trying to write down names here. People, I don't want to forget names. My wife gets mad when I forget her name. So
He's from down under, or is it over? I don't know. New Zealand.
yeah.
Yeah, there's still some stunt flyers here, still people flying control line.
Did you know Burt Munro?
No, opposite island to us. I've heard a lot about him, but no, not that smaller country. But yeah, I've heard of it.
Movies.
Yeah, there are a lot of people into motorcycling and into model planes. I know a couple of friends that are really keen on their motorbikes and into planes. But
Deep and heavy into so Sparky.
yeah, well, our weather here is similar to probably what you'd have in some of the lower states. It's you can fly most of the year round. It's a good venue to fly control line, and there are plenty of flying fields around, but we just lack the numbers. Not enough people here flying control line, and the aging populace always an issue for most of us flyers. But we all try and keep track of what's happening overseas. We had a few people go off to the World Champs recently, quite a few actually. There was quite a good sized team from New Zealand. And the people, Kevin Barnes flying stunt and Daniel Munro were flying stunt. They did reasonably well for a small country.
Is Daniel Munro any relation to Burt Munro?
Could be. South Island, so yeah, could be. Yeah, he's a young guy compared to me. I'm an over 50, whereas Daniel's, I think, in his 20s. Yeah, he was flying one of the GBs, I should say.
What are you working on there, Spark?
This is my next year's airplane, the XL.
I like those hinges you have in there.
What's that?
I love your hinges.
Oh, they work great. Somebody's got an echo going.
Yeah, I heard it too. Let me check my end.
You only have the one window.
I'll close all my other tabs.
Yeah, I'm closing my other.
Gerald?
Yeah, I've closed everything else down. I've just got the one tab open now.
Okay, I don't hear it now.
Somewhere it's gone. Yep.
I got a question for you, Bob. This wing here, it's all finished. The wingtip weight box is in, the landing gear mounts and all that. Silk spans on it, 4 coats of dope, 14 ounces.
Yeah, I was gonna say 14.
Wow.
That's pretty light. Real light. Sparky is after the 0 radius turn and the 0 weighing airplane.
Well, after our discussion the other night, I'm going to be modifying the horn on the elevator.
Yeah, you got a tall horn there. That's a slower system.
Right.
Can you move that output from the bell crank down on the horn a little bit? You probably get a little speedier system. If I turn my volume up, did that help at all?
I turned my speakers to hear you up higher, so that's how I overcame it a little bit.
Okay.
Well, I can hear you clearly down here in New Zealand. You're coming in loud and clear, Bob.
Okay. What's that airplane you have behind you there? That with the little red stabilizer and Gerald?
Oh, the
over your right shoulder.
my right shoulder. Yeah. I'll just run through them. There's a Chief on the wall over there, a Chief, and then there's a twin-engine Showman, a Viking, and 109, and there's another shoestring up on them. And the little biplane in the red is a Duchess biplane, an English biplane.
Wow.
That's on the other side.
You got some airplanes there.
Well, they've got tons of airplanes because they've been modelling since about 1980. Building lots of models, and my sons both build models, 9 and 11, and my wife also builds. So they're cheap on the wall over there. That's with my wife.
How do you accomplish getting your wife to build that? That would be like.
I got my wife involved when she was very young. I met her when she was 21, and she didn't have other hobbies or interests really. and so managed to hook her in young. So she's been a good modeler. She's quite a good flyer. She can fly stunt quite well, but she's actually teaching her sister how to fly as well now. The 5 of us flying, hopefully. But her sister's in her 50s, and she's finding it difficult. But most people, if you try long and hard enough, you'll crack it. And she's still working on the straight and level. But they managed to fly up the tank last time on little train models. Yeah, I've flown a bit of combat, but mainly stunt, and I've flown scale, and I've flown a lot of radio in the past as well.
Yeah, me too. I flew combat when I was younger, and then got into stunt. Flew a lot of radio pattern, a little bit of on racing, soaring.
I suppose you've worked in the magazines as well, providing us with all that information over the years.
Yeah, well, I hope it was good information. You know, tried.
Yeah, I suppose the internet helps to do that now, and Sparky's helping fill the void that the model aviation magazines used to provide. And flying models.
Mark's doing a great job. We're all proud of him and very thankful for what he's doing.
Well, the reason why I do the videos is because when I was flying, when I was younger, nobody would tell you anything. You couldn't figure nothing out. You had to, everything was a secret. It used to just tick me off. Say, come on, Bill, tell me what the hell's going on here. And when I say Bill, that was Bill Noyes. I don't know if anybody knows that name, but.
Does he provide plywood or balsa wood?
Pardon me?
Is he a balsa wood supplier?
No.
Okay.
Tom Warden was our testers rep, and I used to trade some labor for wood, and I'd build some airplanes, and he would give me the wood. And Tom was a painter, and I learned a lot about painting from Tom. But the things that I learned from Tom, I can't share on the internet. I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, I get some strikes from my YouTube, right?
No. It's just like the time I told that guy to put the epoxylite in the microwave and heat it up and then take it out and then stir it up.
Heat up the dope, right? He used to heat his dope up to the stove in a double boiler, and they kept dope all from explosions and things.
Right. That's an old furniture finisher's trick. Dangerous. Real dangerous.
Because it's where the dope is a lot more flammable than all the epoxies that might be more toxic, but dope just loves to burn, doesn't it?
It's lacquer. It's got toluene in it.
Yeah. Well, I found out when I was young, I got a combat model, and I was doping, and I wanted the dope to dry faster, so I hit it with the heat gun, and then it exploded. It just exploded into flames, and I threw it under the shower. Luckily, it was a big surprise for me, anyway.
We used to do that on silk. We used to put the dope on from underneath so it wouldn't go into the silk too far, and then we hit a heat gun and try to cure it right on top of the silk. We get a nice glossy finish. That worked pretty well. That was back in the 60s.
Because got to be careful how much heat you use.
What's that?
So 14 ounces is a good weight, right, Bob?
Yeah.
I'd rather have it 12 ounces.
Not my airplane. What do I care?
Yeah.
No, it's a darn good weight. You know, I was looking at those hinges. I'm going to use that hinge theme on my new airplane, but I'd like to do it in such a way that I could take a pin or a wire that'll go through and be the hinge pin and pull off the flaps. I want to be able to change flaps or at least get them off the airplane to modify them if I have to. Can that be adjusted to do that?
Well, I had thought about that. And in order to do that, you would have to cut a groove down the leading edge of the
yeah.
You know, I suppose anything can be done if you want to take your time to do it, you know.
And you could kind of move and then fill in the front part of the groove so that, and then you'd have a slot to the wire to go down through and just feed it in. I know that Paul does that, but he does it with regular hinges, and he leaves a tremendous hinge gap. I mean, like, looks like almost 3/32 of an inch hinge gap, and then of course he seals it. When he goes someplace and puts his airplane together, he just puts tape on it, seals it up. But I don't like the way it looks. It's very, very
I have 0 hinge gap.
Yeah, I like that.
And on the elevator, now these are called pocket hinges. They're like a real airplane.
Mm-hmm.
On the elevator,
like a Fowler arrangement.
Right, the stabilizer cups over it just ever so slightly, so there's no gap, so it's going up and down like this. I don't cup over that. Ridiculous. And you could do it on the wing that way too, but you'd have a thicker trailing edge, and I don't really want that thick trailing edge.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I have all the airplanes I design with the flaps integral to the airfoil. There's no polywire or reflex. So I get pretty thick leading edges to my flaps. And I could do that. And I can put those little triangle pieces in and make it look like a Fowler arrangement, on trailing edge pieces on the wing, and have it look like a walnut socket.
Let me show you what one of the hinges looks like.
Keith Chopel used to do. Those were beautiful, by the way, Keith Chopel.
I don't know if you know the story behind this or not, but Ron O'Toole explained this to me 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago now. It probably is 25. And I could not figure out what the hell he was talking about because he never drew it on paper.
How is the ballerina?
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since he got mad at me about the gnats several years back.
Everybody here probably doesn't know why we call him the ballerina. He was, we used to call him Toolbox because he used to be the box man for Werwage and some other guys. And one day he tripped and did a dance step and righted himself. From then on, we said, "You're pretty gentle." He said, "Yeah, I'm a regular ballerina." So he became the ballerina.
Okay.
Anyway, Bob, here's what the hinge looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just put a little brass eyelet inside there. Now, this one doesn't have it in there, but I put a brass eyelet in there, peen it over, and then put a piece of music wire in between it. And this gets set back into the flap, 3/16 of an inch, so that it all pivots on, behind the leading edge of that, so the leading edge stays up close to the trailing edge.
Yep.
Anyway, Ron was explaining this to me, and one day I was downstairs. It's been about 5 years ago now, and it just came to me, go, "Hey, I know exactly what he's talking about." And, so I came up here and I made a hinge out of plywood, cut it out and tried it, and it worked okay. So there's a guy on the forum that does CNC pin routing. So I had him cut me up whatever a piece of plywood costs $30 for a gazillion of them. And so that's what I'm using.
We could have those CNC 2-axis CNC machined out of G10, and you wouldn't need to put the eyelet in. It would be self-bearing.
What would you use instead of plywood?
G10.
Oh, that plastic stuff.
Well, yeah, it's a fiberglass board. It's like a printed circuit board, except we get it dyed black, so it looks like carbon, but it's actually fiberglass.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I've got bell cranks out of that and everything. It works great.
Well, I didn't have that. I only had plywood.
Is that a phenolic material, Bob?
Yeah, it's basic. Well, it's phenolic. Phenolic would be more like linen based. This is fiberglass based. So it's very similar in nature to Bakelite or linen based phenolic, but it's fiberglass. It's more like printed circuit boards, like green material you see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we have it's dyed black. Out at APC, they had a government job, where they had these huge pieces of 3/32, 93 E10, and it had to be dyed black. And they cut out a big piece for the government, and with this huge came out of it was scrap, and they had it stacked up like cordwood, almost as far as the eye could see. And that's how I do my motor mounts and my bell cranks and everything. You can get that stuff from them. Really neat stuff. It's very hard to cut. You can't cut it with a saw. You have to actually grind it with a carbide grinder.
It's called G10,
D10.
like George 10.
George 10. You can also get it from like McMaster Car, you know. But Aerospace Composites out there in San Leandro has it. And you can get it in all different thicknesses. You can get it 16 or 3/32 or 8 or whatever you need. I'm thinking 3/32 would be perfect for those little pieces.
Yeah.
Well, I like the plywood because it's wood to wood when you glue your hinge in.
Well, that's true.
You can use white glue.
Anybody ever use that? I use the canopy glue. You ever use that for putting in hinges?
Yeah, I used it and lost my first Thunderbolt on that.
You know why you probably did? Because you didn't mix it up into solution enough.
Huh.
If you just do it out of the bottle, if it's been sitting even for a day, all the good stuff goes to the bottom. You don't get the good stuff in the glue. You got to mix it up and use it right away. I did a couple of test panels, and I ripped the barrels of the hinges apart before I could pull it out of the wing or the test panel.
Oh, really? I've shied away from trying it.
Works great.
I mean, I have canopy glue that the what's it called, 500?
RC56 or the Formula 500. There's several different ones. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to shake it up and make sure everything's in solution before you put it in, and then you got to let it sit for at least 24 hours to dry.
All right.
You know, and you want to oil the barrel of the hinge too, so that it doesn't get in there. And,
Yeah, kind of like I just use epoxy. That's how I do my hinges, and I put the barrel of hinges in liquefied Vaseline, and then I just, like what Wendy Wanowski calls babysitting. Keep moving the control surface.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever works, Everybody's got a different method.
Yeah. Well, I'm still learning as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, we all.
So am I.
Learning. Yeah. I had some lessons this afternoon from Paul Walker, matter of fact. Had a long discussion this afternoon. I'm getting back into flying a little bit.
Getting back into what?
Gotta get back into flying a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, how's your back feeling?
Back's okay, but I had some bad news the day before yesterday. I've had a problem with my left hand atrophying and not being able to play guitar. And I can't play guitar for more than about 20 minutes before my hand starts to fatigue. I went to the doctor, and it turned out to be a pinched nerve in my cervical up here in my neck. And it's going to require two operations, 2 4-hour operations, one from the front and one from the back, to go in and fix it. And there's no guarantee that I'll, survive it. So we'll see.
That sounds serious.
I guess I should drive out and visit you again and do a little operation on your pain transfer.
Yeah, get a Dremel tool. That's what Billy Werwage said. He said, we can fix this, Get a Dremel tool.
Well, that looks like I got it all. Let's it'll set up and.
Now it weighs 15 and a half ounces now.
There ain't much superfill on it.
Now that stuff stands great too. It really feathers out nice.
I haven't found anything better.
No, I mean neither. I used to like epoxylite, but this is much better. It's very therapeutic watching somebody work on an airplane.
Do what now?
Because it's very therapeutic watching someone work on an airplane.
Yeah, insanity.
I got a design. I got it all drawn out. I got the wing cut and covered, and I'm ready to. I'm going to use. I'm using a technique I call reverse composite construction. I'm getting ready to composite the wing with silk span and epoxy finishing resin. And again, 3mm etched mylar. I've done this several times, and boy, does it work great. It makes it very incredibly lightweight and sealed and ready for finish when it comes out of the cradles and everything with the mylar. But it's kind of an involved process. I'm not explain here, but I'm going to probably write it up and put it on Stunthangar or something.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
What I use for filling, it's a lightweight sparkling, a water-based filler, but it is very light, and you can get it all over yourself and wash it off.
Yeah,
Once
we do up here with DAP. I have a product called DAP Spec.
and my son was working on his model, and he was plastering it with it. He's just swathering it all on, my youngest son, and he got it all over his pants, but we could get it all off easily because it was water-based. I was just thinking if it was epoxy or if it was my old talcum powder and dope, we would have made a really good mess.
We had embroidered all over our jeans and oxalate and everything all over. Some others used to yell at us and everything. I remember chewing the embroidery off my fingers for hours.
Yeah, PVA is good like that. It sort of just rubs off. But, yeah. The
Here's the stuff you can get if you can get this in New Zealand, Gerald. This is what you use for primer. This is the best. Trust me.
Yes, everybody who's tried it around here swears by it.
They what?
Everybody who's tried it around here swears by it. They love it.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
Who makes it, Sparky?
Well, Sherman-Williams makes it, but you can't get it there. You have to get it from Napa Auto.
Yeah, we have a limited range of products around here. I go to the panel beating supplies to get some of my finishing coats, my epoxies and stuff, but the hardware you can't always get even simple things like Type Bond or JB Weld, but it's getting better here as more stuff comes in.
I was talking to my son Robbie. He works at Boeing. I forgot what division it is. They're doing right now. What they're doing is they're laying up cryo tanks for spaceships, for rocket ships. And, he says that there's some new adhesives that they're using that are just beyond belief strong. I mean, way more than JB Weld and things like that. So hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on some of that stuff.
We got some stuff at work that it's black. It comes in it's a two-part epoxy. Comes in a gun and it mixes itself on a nozzle as it goes out. You can glue your fender on with it. It's not coming off.
Have you tried that?
Oh yeah, we use it all the time.
Have you tried gluing your finger on, you mean?
No, your fender of your car.
Oh, fender.
Oh.
I thought you said finger.
You got a body part that's broke or whatever, you just squirt this black shit on there, stick it on, tape it on, wait 24 hours. It's never coming off. It never. Good stuff.
You know, I have a Chevy Blazer, and my the pin on the hinge of my door was coming out, and there was some problems with it. And the body shop guy was telling me that that hinge was glued on. You know, the door hinge of my car is glued on. That's some strong stuff.
Yeah, they got some strong adhesives down. Yeah,
I've been wanting to try that Gorilla Glue, but I'm kind of a creature of habit, and I want to glue motor mounts together with Gorilla Glue and maybe do some doublers and this, but spending all that without ever trying it, spending all that time on a model and have the motor fly out of it would be a bummer.
Now you mean that stuff that's activated by water? That stuff?
It's sort of moisture in the atmosphere keeps it. So
right.
I use the Gorilla Glue all the time, and my son's model again, that's got the mounts are glued on with Gorilla Glue. We glued all the bearers in, everything's all glued with Gorilla Glue. And those two boys of mine, they hammer them. So they plant them in the ground all the time, and the Gorilla Glue is amazing. It really is good. It's better than epoxy in many ways. You get it right. It really does work well.
Wow,
it foams up.
I covered a wing like that once. A friend of mine, an RC flyer, a guy named Jim Martin, maybe you've heard of him. He had an airplane years ago called the Banshee. He's still flying, and he wanted me to do a giant scale stabilizer and elevator fin rudder for him, and he wanted me to specifically use Gorilla Glue and put it on in a very, very, very thin application, and then spray a little water onto the foam, and then put it together. And it was amazing how strong it was.
How heavy was it though?
You know, it was an RC airplane. What do we care?
Yeah, who cares?
No, it seemed like you could do it as light as you could do it with epoxy, the epoxy finishing resin like we normally do it. The problem is you don't have quite as much working time. That stuff will start to, you know.
Hey, Steve Hines is joining us.
Hey there.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Mr. Hines, how's your French?
How's it going? Hey, Bob. How you been?
Good. How's your French? Are you speaking French these days?
Oui, oui.
You knew that when you left.
How'd you enjoy your trip?
It was fun. I told everybody that I was looking forward to the loo because I had bladder problems, but they said it was a loo. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked it over there. Treated good.
It looked like she was having a good time.
You know, it was a deal to where I was telling them that everybody said, oh, the French don't like us and the judges, whatever. Samantha got better scores more consistent from the French judge and the English and stuff like that. It was the German and South Africa. I thought it was, the Russian and the South Africa. I thought they were Germans, but they were South Africans, I guess.
Yeah, it's all the same place. Russia, South Africa.
Well, it was a Russia judge for sure, and I thought it was a German judge, but they said it was actually a South African judge. But
hey, got somebody else visiting here on Harold's shoulder there.
Oh, yeah. Hello, next.
Howdy, how are you?
Oh, so you're a keen modeler, aren't you? That's Bob Hunt, famous Bob Hunt that built the Genesis. I've got a tail of a Genesis lying there. But yeah, you like flying there, don't you? Yeah, tell Bob what model you're working on now. 2 models, actually.
My ringmaster.
Yeah. Ringmaster, yeah, and you're working on a...
I'm also working on a training model for my stunts.
Yeah, stunt trainer, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you pattern yet? Are you flying the pattern?
Well, you're flying round maneuvers, aren't you? Yeah. You're doing lazy eights and loops and bumps.
Yeah.
Your brother's at a similar level.
How old are you?
9.
9. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Loops and eights are good. Yeah.
You should go and grab some of your pictures of planes that you've drawn. You're really good at drawing. He's very good at drawing. That one, he loves drawing cartoons. He likes the finishing part of the aeroplanes. He likes to paint and finish them. Add a little bit of artwork to them. Makes it quite nice for him.
Cool.
But yeah, this is the leading edge where I've glued it with Gorilla Glue. It's for their ringmasters, and it bubbles up. The foam, the glue bubbles up.
How does it sand?
It sands. It's easiest to cut it first, trim it with a sharp knife, and then you can sand it. It sands better than epoxy. It is more the consistency of wood than epoxy. In that sense, it's more like using wood. I quite like it, but you've got to get used to it. You can get it in different consistencies that dry at different rates. You can get stuff that dries in 20 minutes, and that foams like crazy. It goes mental. And the slower drying Gorilla Glues are probably better for our purposes, because they don't foam up as much. They're less messy. You can get your joints better.
yeah, that's what my brother said. He fixed the leg on the chair of his kitchen table set, the chair for that, and it said to wet it, put that stuff on there. He said that stuff was just boiling out of it, and he got it all cleaned up and sanded off, but he said it will never come apart again.
Well, that glue, the Gorilla Glue, is the only glue I've ever used on my shoe that held the sole on. All the other glues, all that shoe sole glue, yeah, no good. Gorilla Glue, that sole is never coming off there.
Yeah. Well, the other one is the panel glue. The panel glue you're talking about gluing the fenders on before I glue the kids' school shoes together with the panel glue you use for auto parts. and again, it works really well. So if they rip apart a school shoe, I can glue it on there, and it won't come off.
The modelers can do anything. Modelers can do anything.
Yeah, practical. All right.
All right, we'll put Gerald up as the big screen, and we'll look at the
pictures.
Yeah, see some pictures here.
Yeah, Max loves drawing. He likes drawing cartoons.
World War I.
I don't exactly know what planes I draw them.
Hold it up a little higher.
Like a moth here.
You do nice perspective drawings too, three-dimensional.
Then this one's basically based off of Spitfire.
Spitfire, yeah.
Yeah, you should grab a few cartoons.
Well, I
That's someone in her mum's room. Mum's room. Yeah.
There you go, Bob. Now you're gonna have somebody who can draw plans for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back in a few.
How's Kev doing? How's Kevin doing, Steve?
He's doing pretty good. He just got back from the Nats last Saturday. So he's been last Saturday he got back. But the bad part was they went the Saturday before and he called me 7 in the morning. His dog died at the kennel.
Oh,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I ran and got him and took him to not funeral home, but I don't know what you call it, the dog place for cemetery.
Hey, Bob.
But yeah, he's like, man, what way to start out a Nats?
You said that modelers can do anything?
We can fix anything, yeah.
Well, check this out. I have dentures, and my bottom teeth, they were made in partials, and I lost those 2 bottom teeth, so now I need a new set of lowers. Well, I'm going to make a set, and we went to the dentist for Chris, and she had teeth, you know, put in. I said, can you tell me what color these teeth are? He said, yeah, they're A2. Why? I said, I'm going to make a set of lowers for me. And he took her in the back, and he said, that guy's crazy. He said, well, don't bet on it, because they ain't that hard to make.
You know that Gene Schaefer was a dental technician? He used to make teeth.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Hey, you can make a carbon fiber mold and then make them out of carbon fiber, and they'd be light and they wouldn't wear out.
It's so easy to do. All that shit can be bought on eBay. A set of top and bottom teeth is $20 in A2 off of eBay, and the articulating jaw is $29 for the setup. You get the spoon or the cup for the mold putty, which you can get off of eBay. Plaster of Paris and the red it's a lost wax process. Just put them together and put it in the oven and bake it. No big deal. I'll bet you that I make my bottom teeth.
Are you going to see a video on this on Stunthangar?
Yeah, put a video. I have a space I need to fill myself. So
I probably will, to be honest with you.
Really, because I got to get them.
There's already YouTube videos on how to do it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's not that complicated.
really,
My teeth were made in my friend's basement. Billy, another Bill, Uncle Bill, he's about 80 now, so he ain't doing it. But he made them in the basement. I went down there and he showed me how. It's nothing to do. And these teeth I have are way better than what they made at the dentist, because the dentist, they put the thing in my mouth, shipped them off to the dental lab. When they came back, they didn't fit. I always complained. Bill said, come on over, we'll do them over my house. And we made these, and I've had these, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now, and they fit perfect.
Knowing you, I bet they're lighter than the ones you.
That's right. That's right.
You'll be able to see through the A2 color, though, because they get them so light.
Yeah.
right. Did you use that DC 500 on it too?
Yeah.
Saying them all.
Everybody likes it. Took me 25 or 30 years. Let's see, from 91. Yeah. It took about 25 years to find that DC 500. A DC. I can't. Whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And anyway, And I happened to walk into an auto parts store and I saw a can of primer down there, and I've tried every primer that you can think of out of a spray can. And I started using this when the Aerogloss was, you could use Aerogloss, and it worked great then. So.
Hey, whatever happened about making Aerogloss again? They just too expensive to formulate everything, or?
There's chemicals in that I think that California, see, all the dope is made in California.
DOC regulation.
Certified or Randolph, they're all the same company. And I think that the chemicals in that paint is probably outlawed in California, because this DC 540 is, if you sand with it very long, your fingers start to tingle. And I think it's because it has xylene in it.
Oh, okay.
So Aerogloss dope, I have 2 quarts of Aerogloss dope here, the red label from years and years ago, but you can't use it because you can't get any thinner. People say, well, use 3608S. It doesn't cut it. Straight lacquer thinner doesn't cut it. I think there's some chemicals in Aerogloss that are outlawed, and that's why it's not made anymore.
And I was always, when I worked at Guardsman, I was always going to take it in there and have it tested or whatever, or
analyzed.
Yeah, taken apart, and they could have, we could have did it, but I never did. And then it was gone, and they're gone, so I don't have the chemists and all the stuff to have it, because it'd be super easy to do. I mean, we made gun scrub. I forget what company it was that everybody liked their gun scrub. So I took it in there and we let all the aerosol out of it, opened the can, tested it. They said, oh, okay, that's what it is. So we blend it up, and we had our own aerosol canner. We canned the crap out of that stuff just for us, and it was the best gun scrub in the world. I'm out of it now too, but they made starting fluid there at work and anything you could think of, carb cleaner. They had all the formulas for all that stuff, whatever anybody liked. And we just put it in an aerosol can.
When I was working for Harley Davidson, we had this girl come in, this salesman, she was selling brake cleaner. They had big spiel, so they sent her back to me at my bench and said, this is my, she was trying to sell me, and I was going to tell the service writer or service manager if it was any good or not. She goes, this is biodegradable, non-toxic, and she sprays it in her mouth. Tastes like orange. Some kind of citrus carburetor cleaner. And so I put some grease on my workbench. I had a motorcycle lift, and it's a handy lift, and lifts it up. Put some grease on there. I said, go ahead, spray that on there and wipe it off. So she sprayed it on there, and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe. And yeah, it finally got off of there. I said, here's the good stuff. And I went like that and whipped it right off. I told her, anything that's biodegradable, non-toxic, don't work. And it don't.
Looks like Jason Greer's trying to get on here.
Well, he's got no mic and got no camera. Go to the top, Jason, and go to the gears area. Put your pointer at the top next to the phone icon. There'll be a gear. Click on that and select your camera and your microphone. And you want to select the camera, then for the camera that you have, then the microphone, the default or whatever, and then your speaker output, and that should be good.
Yeah, the microphone's gone away. I get his camera working.
Yeah. Say something, Jason.
Oh.
Your microphone came back. Take your microphone, turn your microphone on, and your camera. Okay, your microphone is on now, so you can talk.
I'm trying.
Okay, now take the pointer up to the top at the gear icon. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Click on the gear icon, and then 3 settings will open up. It'll say settings. Mine is a Logitech. Select your camera, and then hit save, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, it shows it's selected, but I don't know.
Select a different one,
I
and
only
hit
only have
save, and
one on
then
my list.
select the right one.
What kind of camera do you have? Oh,
It's built into the laptop, man. I don't know.
oh.
No.
It just says integrated camera.
Is there another choice there?
No, that's the only one. This is a work laptop, so I don't know. It may not even have a
Well, you never
driver
look,
loaded or
never
something.
look so good, Jason.
I'd be disabled in the laptop.
Well, we don't need to see you.
Yeah, it's cool. You don't want to see me anyway.
At least we can hear you now.
Well, Rex, do you want to show them your pictures of your planes that you're doing? You just
Okay.
hold it up to the. It's your.
That's my hurricane.
Okay.
No.
Is that your sister flying it?
Oh, you
That's
didn't
his girlfriend.
His girlfriend. Yeah.
Alright.
What was that one next?
Oh, it's just like a training plane.
Oh, that's you and your girlfriend.
Oh, lady there.
That's Otto and me.
His brother Otto. Yeah. And this one's like a.
A whole load of aircraft put together.
Oh, yeah, all formation.
That's probably the girlfriend's dad and his brother's out looking for you.
And then that's like what the plan for the trainer, for my stunt trainer, you know.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Oh, you had a couple of other.
Oh no! I don't want them to see.
Okay. Okay.
You're pretty good for 9 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, just getting there flying. I don't know how we can ever get you as good as Sam, eh? Well, Samantha and also Samuel. They're both great flyers, aren't they? They've
Yeah.
got something
I'm
to aim for.
far cry from them.
Yeah.
I'm really.
Long way to go,
Yeah,
but you're
long
getting
way.
there. Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah.
Well, he's ahead of Samantha because she had 2 flights when she was 9 years old. And it was like October or whatever. And then we got snow, and then she never flew again to the next year. And then I think we flew for 1 year, and then Bob came there to Akron and got on the handle with her because no one had ever been on the handle or anything.
I remember that.
Yeah, and helped her, concentrate on the flat parts and not the corners. And everything started coming real quick then. Once she understood what she was supposed to be, supposed to be able to do or try to do. But yeah, that was, then we went, the following year, she had the whole pattern in and everything like that. But yeah, Bob, I don't know, when'd you fly 2 or 3 flights with her?
Yeah.
Worked on the squares and stuff because she had the loops and.
That was a nice site at that museum. They
Well, we
had.
got Randy Kuberly in here.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Can you hear us, Randy?
Got his avatar at least. Hey Bob, maybe someone hasn't explained this to you, but when you want to see something, if you click on their picture, they'll have a white frame around it, and then there'll be a much bigger image.
Oh, okay.
So like when Max is showing his drawings, if you click on it, then you'll be able to
I
see it.
On there now. I'm gonna get rid of that. I got Kevin, Harold. I got you. Okay, cool. I see the white thing around it. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Bob.
Yeah.
It's about this wing here. It's light, but and it is freshly doped. But I want to show you something because it's kind of worrisome. So
What soap span did you use? Did you use that new doctor's office soap span?
no, I used K&S, some old K&S silk span.
Have you tried that doctor's office stuff yet?
Yeah, I got a roll. It works good. But here again, I put a lot of work into this. I don't want to try anything new on this airplane.
Yeah.
Okay. This is, has been doped in the last couple of days, so this is soft. It's not hardened up yet. But if you hold your hand here and then pick up on the wingtip, it'll move up. Just you can feel it flex. Is that a worry?
Yeah. About my airplane. What do I care?
What's that?
It's not my airplane. What do I care?
Yeah.
No, it's not a problem.
That's funny.
No, it should be fine. It should be fine.
It doesn't flex much, but
I
I was thinking, well, am I going to have to cover this with urethane to get it tightened up?
You have tension and compression joiners in the center?
Yes, there's a
Basswood.
compression joint. It goes.
Yeah, it's not going to break.
It goes from here. Let's see here.
Can't see it. It's too low.
Yeah, it's fine. And if it does break, I was wrong.
Ah,
There we go.
Mark, if it does break, I was wrong. So.
yeah, gee, thanks. Compression spar goes from right here
Yeah,
to right here.
Yeah, that's where mine goes to. That's not going to break.
Of course, it's been cut back real far in the center, so you can't see it. But
when you get more finish on it, and it hardens up, it's gonna be fine.
right, and of course the shear webbing goes out to here where the landing gear are, outside the landing gear. And then these are all open from this side. It's the same thing you do.
Yeah. But lately, I've got the fully sheeted built-up wings and/or the foam wings with that reverse compositing on.
All this sheeting is 3/32. The whole wing is 3/32.
Never gonna break. Is Randall?
I really like using 3/32 over 16th or 77 thousandths because you don't get the starved horse look.
I just use a little stiffer 1/16, and I don't get that anyway. So.
Use what?
A little stiffer 1/16. Just go to a little higher density 16th. It weighs the same as a softer 3/32, but it's denser material and soak up less finish.
Yeah, I don't think it's lighter than this. This wood here was all 4 pound, everything in it.
Yeah, but it'll soak up. That'll soak up more finish than a higher density 16.
Yeah, I don't know. My fuselage is 2 pieces of 16 glued together with white glue instead of 3/32. The turtleneck and bottom block, because I like the bottom block made that way because you're handling it so much, but it's still light too,
Everything I'm building now is 16. Fuselage sides are 16. The shells are 16. Wings are 16. Everything's 16.
I ended up getting a steam generator, but I haven't got the box built yet. And I'm going to try to do complete molded fuselages, in 2 halves like Raby did or whatever. Kind of super compound molding where you got to cut and relieve like you did on the Thunderbolt.
Have you ever seen the stuff that Jeff Traxler's doing? That spiral wrap 30-second thing he's doing?
No.
That's pretty amazing. He's getting some fuselages that are incredibly strong and weigh nothing. Gotta give him some credit. He really did a good job. Spiral wraps it one way, and then you spiral wraps the other way, and it wraps it all down against saran wrap with each end. And when it uses that 208 hardener, that West System long cure hardener, come back 24 hours later, peel everything off, and you got a shell that weighs nothing, and it's like a girder.
That's what building technology.
I'm sorry?
Hey, Bob, I'm sure John Jordan is watching. We're going to make some pipes. We got the sock, and we're going to build a manual. What resin should we use for those? That and the landing gear. What is the best resin for that?
It's been like since the last time I made a pipe like that was back around 1994 or 5. Billy took it over and he found some better resin. So you really want to talk to Billy.
I can call him, but he never answers the phone.
How about it? I know he's found some better resins. I was using stuff from APC that George Spar, sent to me, and it worked fine. But that was a million years ago.
Well, I got Easy Lamb from APC.
Yeah. This was like an Easy Lamb type, but it wasn't. It was like something specifically for high temperature application, and that was a million years ago. And it worked. Kevin had Gerald had a question there a minute ago.
Oh, no, I was just thinking the laminating you're talking about reminded me of people building boats, how they overlap the layers of wood, get that strength.
Or like the mosquito. Have you ever seen the thing on YouTube how they built a mosquito bomber and they had that 45 degree? It was very similar to that, and it worked great. I was kind of skeptical until I saw him do it. He did it in my basement. He came and stayed for a week. We built guitars for half the week and we built airplanes for half the week. And man, it was amazing. It worked great.
Did you ever see Discovery Channel's build on the Horton 229?
Yeah.
Did you laugh your ass off when they tried to pull a canopy?
Yeah, when they were trying to melt the canopy over the form.
Yeah. I think, how you guys are engineers, how come you can't think of this? Build a frame, pull it out of there, and pull it down.
They did a beautiful job, though. I think it was gorgeous. They mounted it up on that stanchion so they could shoot it with radar.
Steve's got something to show us, I think.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the wings Bob cut for me. And I don't know if you can kind of see it, but I embedded carbon fiber to the tip. It goes all the way out to the wingtip from straight.
But that's torsionally rigid.
Yeah, it's really good. And the whole wing, getting leaving the wood out and all that kind of stuff, it'll look like a build-up wing. Well, the bell crank and everything, I got it in like 9 ounces. So I didn't think that was too bad. That's with all the reinforcement, fiberglass, everything on it. So
what airplane is that? That tail moment is super long.
This is a Tempest. Oh no, I take it back. This is the Vector, not the Vector 40, not the Tempest. It's a Vector.
What's the tail moment there?
I can get something to measure it, but I think the wing area is 620 or 630.
Well, I guess it isn't that long. It's probably 18 inches. Hard to judge that stuff over the internet.
Yeah.
Carl, what time is it out where you are? Carl,
What'd you say, Bob?
what time is it out where you are?
Where do you measure from the back of the?
It's a 8:15, Bob.
Trailing
Out
edge
here.
to trailing edge.
The back of the trailing edge?
Trailing edge of the wing and trailing edge of the stab.
20 and a half.
Well, I was wrong. I thought it was 18, but yeah, that thing's super long. Who is that in the plans?
Yeah.
Wow. You're going to have to put a red flag on the back of that airplane.
Holy moly.
Hello, everyone.
How long is the nose moment?
The nose moment is off this is an SB11 front end. And that is 10 3/4.
Ow.
Thanks.
Well, that airplane, you better make under 60 ounces to get it to balance.
Well, it's going to be electric. And the last one I always had, the thing is, I need more, get the battery back farther. So I'm hoping that it balances out with all this, but I cut off the pipe tunnel. And then I was kind of, my question is that how much can you lose in the back of the airplane? I'm still thinking about cutting this back off and redoing that.
You can do that.
Just to get side area down.
Why do you want to get it down? Side area is what gives you line tension.
Yeah.
I figured it was.
But it also gives you weight. So if you want to cut it a half an inch off the back of that, you can measure down a half an inch at the tail post, and then at the trailing edge, take a 36-inch steel yardstick and then whack it right off.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring. I want to get rid of the side area because of when it's windy for wind up. When I was at the World Championships, I mean, the Chinese kid, he was flying like a BG looking, or I think it was. And all these guys had real thin tails. And with the electrics, they had nothing. They wanted it, and they said to get rid of the wind up in windy air. That side area doesn't push on the airplane. So I don't know. And they round their whole fuselage. There ain't no flat sides on them.
Should have used 3/16 fuselage sides then, so you could make it round.
That one won't have round ones on it, but yeah, it looked like most all of them, the European airplanes, all had like some kind of a composite or something, and the fuselage is all around.
Yeah, they all came out of the same mold.
yeah, they're all molded, and when you see a broken one, like I saw one in a crash, and it was eggshell thin. The whole thing was just so thin. And one of those BGs, Lauren Bell crashed it here. But
flat-sided airplanes, I think, our days are numbered because those airplanes look so cool. We all have to learn how to build more shapely airplanes.
Yeah, it's
Well,
changing.
Well, what they're saying is that when you build them round or whatever, they're stiffer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Think of an egg.
Yeah. So, it's kind of, this one I can't do nothing with the sides, but I can, cut off some of it to get less side area and not put a very big, it's not really the back part of it, not the turtle deck, but behind the canopy. Shrink that down as much as possible. I mean, they didn't have very big rudders either. And that's why I'm like, how big a rudder do you have to have?
Big enough to stop the prop arc. If you're running a big prop, you need a big rudder.
Well, you said they've gone to quite small. I think it was Chris that said last week they were running 11-inch props, so they didn't really need a big rad rudder or anything because they had quite a small. They were running more pitch and using the controller, the accelerometer to control the airspeed as well as using the pitch. But it meant that they had less gyroscopic progression happening. They had a quicker turning moment because of the smaller prop and the hollow props. All of that was working in their favour.
Paul Walker has always been a proponent of the smallest propeller you can get away with. And I think he won the world with that 63-inch span impact with an 11-inch prop. And the thing flew through turbulence better than any airplane on the field. I think there's a lot of that smaller diameter thing that can make it work.
It's turning everything inside out. We used to think, 14.6, a huge prop will give us all that pulling power through the maneuvers. But yeah.
And it's not so, I don't believe it's so much the gyroscopic precession or P factor. I think what's more a factor in this is the spiral airflow effect. And the larger diameter prop you get, the further out on the wing, the airflow hits the wing. And it's like a fulcrum. It tends to roll the airplane easier the more diameter you have.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you go to a smaller diameter, you still have P factor, you still have gyroscopic precession, but I don't think that's as much a factor as the spiral airflow is.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed too that, they had smaller rudders. Now, Igor and some of them had sub rudders. You know, like the BG, you know, that rudder is as much on the bottom as on the top.
That's just for looks.
Well, if I may, years ago, I discovered something that I think everybody's pretty much discovered now too. It's when you're flying in wind and you're downwind, you're doing your maneuvers downwind. You got a pretty heavy wind, all right? Your airplane is like a weather vane. You have a center of gravity and a long tail mowing arm, and you got a vertical fin on the airplane. And it acts like a weather vane. The wind downwind, it pushes the tail outward and the nose inward. But also, if you have more vertical, you have more area above the vertical center of gravity on the tail than below, you also get a rolling component. So it rolls to the right and yaws to the left downwind and just the opposite upwind. So what they're doing now is they're making bigger noses and deeper noses, like that GB has a huge 12-inch long, very deep nose. And I did it with wheel pens, putting area forward and down to balance the area aft and up. And then the airplane stays stabler downwind. It doesn't tend to yaw and roll.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought about the sub rudder, that you wouldn't get the roll effect from it. That would balance it, But they have all their stuff in line too. The motor's in line, the wings in line, and the tail's in line. So when they do the sub rudder, everything is equal. So I can see where that would, and the spiral effect would hit it equally.
Yeah, and the reason we haven't been using inline airplanes all these years, it's not for any aerodynamic reason. The thrust line of the motor is not above the center line of the wing for any other reason, except we've been going to bigger and bigger props, and the landing gear would have to get longer and longer and longer to get ground clearance. So we moved the motors up to shorten the landing gear with the big props, but they don't fly any better.
Okay.
Get everything in line and use a smaller diameter prop and a reasonable length landing gear. I think everybody's starting to find that works real well.
We should have started building F4U Corsairs then, because that's the same reason why the gull wings there.
Yeah.
I had an airplane years ago, F-105 Thunder Chief. It was all in line, and it had a little sub rudder on it, and it was one of the best flying airplanes I've ever owned.
Yeah, that's going to be the USA Ama wing. How many square inches? Do you know offhand how many that is, Bob?
620.
620. Because I got your lost foam. That's going to be the next one, and everything's going to be in line on that.
Can't go wrong.
On that airplane with the thinner, a little bit thinner wing.
Yeah, I agree. My new airplane has a very thin wing and all in line. For an 11-inch prop, designed to be about 58 ounces with a battery on board, and I think it's going to work fine.
And that one, in the plans, it's got the rudders on the tip of the elevator. It doesn't have a rudder sticking way up.
Yeah, which is real good for elevator authority. It traps the air on. That airplane had so much elevator authority without being sensitive. Just crank it around a corner. Amazingly well. Good flying airplane.
But that's going to be the next one, and I'm going to try to. I don't know if I can make a build-up round fuselage or how in the hell to do it. But
Jeff Traxler, he's got a method that really works well. We actually were going to work up an article for Stunt News, but he never got it done. So.
Yeah, I might even be able to use his molds to try to make something up and then make it look the way I want or whatever. Yeah, I know he does that with Gorilla Glue somehow.
No, he does that we did that with West Systems, Moxie, and 209 cargo. It was a 24-hour, a long cure and a long hot life. And we were able to get everything laid up and then put saran wrap over it and wrap it down with an ace bandage. And it worked perfectly. I was skeptical. Okay. I didn't think it was going to be light. I didn't think it was going to be easy to do. It turned out perfect the first time. Gotta give him credit. He did a good job.
And it was light and everything too?
It was a feather. It was a very light fuselage. I think the whole fuselage weighed 4 ounces. That's with motor mounts and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very light. Very impressive. Of course, you got to be able to get good 1/32nd, and you got to make a good mold too. It's got to be a mold that doesn't have such compound curves that you can't wrap this stuff in a spiral wrap. You've got to have a certain shape to it too. But I don't think that's a big issue.
But that's going to be the winter project. I got all the lost foam, all the glue on it, stuff like that, and I got the wood for the ribs, and that one you did for me is going to be fully sheeted, where you move the ribs in closer.
Yeah.
There'll be a fully sheeted wing, and
They come out nice. They really do. Buddy's big twin was built that way.
but yeah, so that's going to be the next experiment. Hopefully, I'll have this one here done pretty quick, and then just see how light, because that one's going to have monocoated wings and stuff like that. I want to see how light I can actually get the airplane. You know, Samantha's, you know, I guess they raised the age to 21. If she goes back again, there is no points for finish or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if I can make everything stiff enough and everything and use the monocoat and get another 4 or 5 ounces off, and I tell you what, there were some nice monocoat jobs there. And then they paint on top of the monocoat. I couldn't believe how that looked.
I was talking to Chris, and he said that we were talking about Samantha's airplane. He said that her airplane flies better than his airplane.
Yeah, she was getting used to it at the end. Windy weather, I mean, that is one hell of an airplane for windy weather. She'd have done a lot better if we'd have got the wind and the turbulence like they said we were going to get. You know, and even when when they thought it was really bad, it was so much better than our field. That's what she flies in all the time. Is that real turbulent air, you know, and she'd have done better then, but
Yeah, Chris loved his airplane. He said it flew great.
yeah, the one that he had at Brodak.
No, he said he said the one he says the airplane she flew at the Worlds, it flew better than the one he was going to take. Yeah, that's right. When he flew at Brodak.
Yeah.
Typhoon.
That's got to be fixed. It took a hell of a beating in the airplane. Busted the cowl, the lower cowl off, all the pieces. We glued it back together. It's busted again. And on the turtle deck, now that was put on, I had to sand it real thin, and now you can see where that seam is at. It's cracked. You know, the silk span and paint stuff's holding it together, but that's going to have to be fixed. You know, so we're going to.
It was much better in the old days. We used to go over to the Worlds. We went over with one-piece boxes. You know, we had big boxes that looked like caskets for manta rays, and we could take our airplanes in one piece.
Yeah.
These days are long gone.
Yeah, it didn't get lost or anything, but that was made out of 1/8" aluminum, and I got to somehow fix the case. It was almost 1/4 of an inch bend in the one corner and back behind that latch on it. It just, now I can't even hardly get it latched. I got to actually put it down and put my weight on the one side to get it close enough to pull the latch in. So, but I'll fix the case. I'll figure out something and probably get some wood and some C-clamps and clamp it on and try to bend it back, pound it back or something.
Michael, you're being very quiet.
Yes, I am. It's been a while since I'd seen anybody. I'd never had seen Bob on this before.
My first time. I'm a rookie.
Yeah. It's been a while. I've been fighting health stuff. I've still got a blood clot in my right calf and on Coumadin, and got to go take a trip in 2 weeks to Albuquerque in a van to let the VA hematologist look at it. Hopefully they put me on something other than Coumadin. It's impossible.
You know,
I can never get it balanced right. My diet and Coumadin.
This getting old is not for sissies, is it?
No, it sure isn't for cowards.
My dad says, and he's 96, says the golden years aren't so golden.
No.
Well, have you been able to get some building done, Michael?
Very little bit. I've gotten more of my modified Spitfire gun. I wound up measuring the wing when I got the basic thing done, and I built it about an inch too narrow. So I put 4-inch wide flaps on it. So I don't know how well it's going to fly. And about an inch, half an inch to, or an inch shorter in span. Don't ask me how I accomplished that, but because I have no clue. But it's the old, what do you call it? The old Aero Modeler Spitfire from the, what was it? Christmas of 1960 edition. So it's kind of a challenge anyway.
Was that like a Warburton airplane or
a what?
a Warburton?
Actually, it's a full fuselage. It was the Pentland Spitfire.
This guy Warburton.
1960. I don't know if I. Oh.
So have you built a guitar lately, Bob?
Working on them. I've been kind of like back into doing beats for a lot of people right now, so even building beats. But I've been working on them. Working on mostly the tooling, and tooling takes more time than building a guitar.
Oh wow. That's something that's always interested me. I find that fascinating. Building guitars.
What you got there, Mike? What is that?
That's the Spitfire wing.
Okay.
It's too narrow, so I made the corners out, and I'm making the flaps so it gets close to being back the right square inches, especially since it's building heavy.
Very good. Hey guys, we have about 6 people on the chat, and matter of fact, when we was talking about the Aeroglass dope, who was it? It was Jack Snevely. He said that he used ACME FT220 auto finish with Aeroglass dope, or Aeroglass clear dope, and other dopes, and he buy by the gallon. He said.
Huh.
Okay.
That's something I'm kind of questioning with this. I'm trying to build that.
Right back.
I want to try to paint this like a U.S. Spitfire, a particular one, because a particular airplane out of Italy in 43, 44 had the code name letters LLMM, and since I'm MM, that's the one I want to build. And trying to match British camouflage, desert camouflage, is where would you get dope to match, or how do you mix it to make it work?
Any auto parts store can mix it for you. Any auto paint shop.
Because I've been trying to make my own lacquer and it ain't happening. Trying to crush watercolor or whatever to get it to.
No, yeah.
It won't.
Bob Brookins, he knows all about it, but you use clear as your binder, and then take that to the paint store and have them put the toners in the clear and mix it up.
Yeah. I think I'm about to give up on this wood brush on wood lacquer, and I'll buy me a gallon of Randolph, I think.
There
That's
you go.
not the only way. I think that's the only way I'm going to come close to matching those colors.
Another thing, Michael's, have you got a local the plastic model store that does the plastic kits like the Revell and Airfix kits? If you can get the plastic paints like the testers paints, you can get colour matches for the plastic kit and get those and use them to do a colour match at an auto parts store. So get like the little testers or Cumbrol colours.
Hey Charles, are you flying control line stunt on the chat?
Yes, that's me.
Okay. American.
I changed the name on my YouTube channel. I didn't mean it crossed over everything, so everything has been changed to Flying Control Line Stunt. So that's Charles Carter.
Okay. American building, Rocky, is clear polyurethane, flexible enough for open bays wing covering with silk span. Yes, it is. I've done it, but I don't recommend using it because it's heavy. but use it if you want.
What do you got there, Bob? Mold?
Yeah, this is the mold for building the guitar in.
Oh, wow.
Building the guitar inside
Looks
of
like,
and it's
looks like you're building some big body acoustics.
yeah, this is actually a replica of a Martin V28. But the way they normally do this is they take 3/4 inch plywood and stack it up and glue it, and then try to bandsaw the shape accurately. Wrong. What I did was I took 2-pound foam, like I used on the Lost Foam wings, cut the shape of the bouts. I put vertical grain 1/32 in here, and then sheeted it with 1/8 inch on the sides. It's very light, and it's absolutely good, not perfect shape. They say that no one's ever done it like this before, so that's pretty cool.
So all the blind nuts, is that for clamps?
It's a clamping system to hold the sides in place while I put in the kerfing and top and bottom ready to go on. And then when I realized after I had the negative here, I got the mold part done and you build the guitar in. It dawned on me that when I cut this piece out, I had the male part, and then I could build myself a bending fixture for the sides. So it's all model airplane technology. This is the bending fixture for the sides, and as a clamp here, you put the in this case rosewood into a steam generator like Sparky had. I have one of those Rockwell steam generators and steam box. You steam it for a couple hours, clamp it here, and then bend it, and put this piece in place, clamp it, and do the final bend over here and clamp it, and let it dry, and take this out and put it in the mold.
What are you finishing those guitars with?
Well, I'm going to do it the way Keller does it. They're using a polyester paint, like almost like car paint, but it's UV cured. They're doing it overnight. I'm 2 miles from Martin Guitar, and you go over there, and it takes them 2 weeks to finish a guitar because they're using nitrocellulose. But Keller, who is a far superior guitar builder, is using polyester clears and UV curing it, and they're getting spectacular results. So,
How about Z-epoxy and dope?
I guess you could.
Z-epoxy the wood, sand it, and then clear dope or urethane on it.
You don't want to seal the grain too much. You want the pores of the wood is what gives you the sound. So you want the
Interesting.
open, So. But it's kind of interesting stuff, But it's all model airplane technology.
Yeah.
It's like building teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I thought that other part you had there, Bob, I thought you put the wood in there and then clamped it out, and that got your shape.
Yeah, well, but you have to bend the sides, because the grain runs fan-wise on this thing, not up and down on the sides. It runs. They have to bend them, and that takes a tremendous amount of effort, and they got to really be pliable. And then you put them into here, and you clamp them in here, and you put tops and bottoms on that hold the shape. Very complex to do it right.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that would be all you needed right there. You'd clamp it in, you'd steam them and push it in there and clamp them in, and then.
Trust me, this stuff is so hard to bend, it's almost not believable how hard it is to bend.
After you steam them, it ain't though.
Even that, you have to be very careful. You just can't force it over; it'll crack. You got to kind of work with it and butter it and heat it and move it, and then it takes time, and it's not an exact process.
Have you been able to get some good wood?
Oh yeah, I got great wood. Remember Walt Pyron? Anybody remember Walt Pyron? It had the P-39 Air Cobra.
Certainly.
59.
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, I was wondering if you could see me. I don't see my thumbnail down there. How's everybody tonight?
Doing all right. Don't see you, Rusty.
Yeah.
You don't see me?
Glasses. I can see the reflection on your glasses, and I can hear the crickets in the background.
Okay. That's about as good as you're going to do. That's about as good as you're going to do. I'm sitting in the dark. Well, damn, Charles, you draw a bigger crowd than I do.
I see that.
No, actually, this is the Sparky show.
Yeah.
I started it, and then Sparky called Bob and said he started another link, so then we just closed that one out.
I I took your video announcement down too.
Oh, yeah, so did I. We must have done it at the same time.
So were you at a contest?
No, I'm at the beach, man.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see y'all managed to drag Bob in there with you. I hope they're treating you okay, Bob.
Oh yeah, I'm not getting bruised up at all.
Good. I'm not gonna stay long. I was just checking on you to see how y'all were doing. I got about 30% battery left and no light to shine on me. So
Well, have a good vacation there, Rusty.
Good to hear you, Rusty. Didn't see a whole lot. Uh-oh.
yeah. Hey, Michael, I hadn't seen you in a long time. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt y'all's conversation. Y'all carry on.
Okay.
I'll listen a bit and then drop on out.
Hang out.
Later, Russ.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, I normally don't do these hangouts. This is normally the Rusty show, but he sent me a message that he wasn't going to be here, so I decided I'd do it.
I've watched the last couple of your videos, Sparky. Very helpful.
Yeah. Well, the weight box is my way of doing it. The landing gear is Bob's way of doing it.
I did similar, but I've got more to get done to get my wheels done on that wing.
I'll give you a plug here, Bob.
Oh boy.
For anybody out there who hasn't got his Building the Lost Phone video, you should get it. Now, some of it will put you to sleep, but it's really an informative video series.
Check's in the mail, Bob.
What's that?
Check is in the mail.
Yeah.
Check is in the mail. Hey there, Rusty. There, you got rid of all the cricket noise.
Yeah, that's a little bit better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see a little bit.
Hey guys, I gotta get up at 6 in the morning because I gotta work tomorrow. So I'm gonna get off. But nice seeing everybody. Nice seeing you, Bob.
You too, Steve. Say hello to Kevin for me. Say hello to Shannon for me.
All right, we'll do. Yeah, she's at her mom. So all right, you guys take her easy. See you
All
Monday.
right, good night, Steve.
Okay.
Good that your sister buzz on stage, but I don't want them to get 1, 2, 3.
Hey Kevin, where are you located?
Right here.
What state are you in?
San Diego, El Cajon, south of Charles.
It looks almost like daylight out there. You know.
What's that?
It looks almost like daylight in your room there. You know.
That's because of my LED bench light.
Oh, okay. It's almost like your.
Yeah, it does look like there's daylight there.
Yeah, it's dark now.
Yeah, it's only 3:17 in the afternoon here. Any daylight. Days are getting longer at least.
Yeah, what time is it there, Jared?
Yeah, 3:17. So 3:15 in the afternoon.
Yeah, very good. How to build what? I can't see the title, Sparky. Oh, I-beam wings. Okay.
That's
like
the one I want to get.
I'd like to get that one too.
Did you all
Oh, this
did y'all tell Bob how to highlight a screen so he can make it lock it in large and see what y'all are showing?
Yeah, I
That close?
I got
Okay, good.
Dude, this could be lucrative for me.
Charles, you were saying before that your stalker had a bit of a rod knock. It's not letting any of the grey stuff out, is it? It's not coming out the exhaust yet, is it?
No, I haven't noticed that yet. I mean, when I wipe the plane off, it looks pretty clean.
Can you hear it?
I heard something last week. I thought it was a prop that went out of balance or something. So I changed props today. And but the telltale sign is when I'm almost, it's either at the top of compression, I can move it just a little bit. I can just move it about a 16th of an inch. The crankshaft's not moving that much, but I can get some play there. I don't know what's going on.
That's over the top, over center. A rod knock is pretty distinctive.
Yeah, it's not doing that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's still pretty early. I mean, I'm gonna pull the cover plate off and see if I can see what's going on. But I'm gonna put my I have a K77 motor. I'm gonna probably put that back into the stalker. I mean, into the Strega, and then I might have to just get some parts for the stalker. So.
Yeah. Well, as soon as it starts showing the grey muck coming up, then I'd stop using it immediately. I lost a motor recently where I just took 2 flights when I started getting the grey, and then that was it. I killed it. But yeah, that's where it sounded very worrying at the World Champs with the Motul oil getting the gunmetal grey slime coming out. I just think it's got to be something metal coming out.
That grey is working metal.
I don't know what it is. I just wanted to make sure I don't ruin anything, so I'm just gonna take it apart and check it out.
Yeah,
a Strega?
Say it again?
You have a Strega?
Yeah, I have a Strega, and then I have a Stalker 81 rear exhaust motor in it.
Wow. It's impressive to see that much ball fluid in the air at one time.
Yeah. I have a channel, Bob. If you want, you can go there, and it's called Flying Control Line Stunt, and you can see my latest video of me flying my Strega.
Okay.
Yeah, Charles flies a pretty nice pattern.
It's very impressive. It's a big model.
You guys are being way too kind. I have lots to go. I have to improve, especially my outside rounds are ridiculous.
It's a very impressive model, and you make it look quite impressive if you take it through its maneuvers. But yeah, it's just big. It is really big. It follows up a lot of the circle. You know, it looks like you're flying it on 50-foot lines. It's that big. And that's the thing with those large models.
I really like flying that plane. You know, I wish I could fly a plane that been in the top 5 at the NAS. See what I'm missing. I have no idea what a better plane flies like. I'm totally at a loss. I don't know.
You know,
the best planes I've flown are the ones I've built.
That is the most amazing thing you just said, because that is where it's at. When I was coming up the ladder, you don't know what a good flying airplane feels like. How do you know what you're aiming at? So Bill Simons let me fly one of his airplanes, and it was like a 39-ounce Nobler, the Fox 35 in it. This is like 1963 or 4, someplace in there. And you know, when I took off, the skies parted, the angels sang. It can be like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important to fly a good flying airplane so you know what you're aiming at.
I know, because when you have a plane that's trimmed, everything is so much easier. You know, I mean, I've flown my fair share of untrimmed planes and having to white knuckle everything, and then when you finally figure out or get some glimpse of trim, you get it so it flies a little bit easier. But I still don't know what I'm missing.
Well, you know, the thing is, if you flew any of those airplanes that are in the top 5 or whatever, you know, really good trimmed airplanes, you lose a lot of respect for their pilots. You say, well, anybody could fly this. You know?
Right. I know. I feel so. It seems to be backwards, because it should be. I mean, a beginner or someone coming up the ranks is having so difficult of a time doing things, and then the experts, you know, they got their planes trimmed, and it's like it's easy. They got everything all dialed in, and it's easier. And this guys coming up, we're making a plane look good. I remember reading. I'm not sure if it was you, but someone flew Mike Palco's Mustang, the one with the checkerboard, and he was amazed at how Mike Palco made that plane look so good. It flew, in his opinion, whoever it was, it flew terrible.
Well, actually, Mikey's flies great. Van Jocks is the one that was like unflyable. Mikey flies phenomenally well, but Van Jocks his airplane was so out of trim, and he flew it very well. I mean, you have to give Dan a lot of credit. He's a good pilot. but the airplane was way out of trim. Mikey was perfect, just perfect. You know, when you're talking about getting a good flying airplane, I've written about it a number of times, and I've told people about it a number of times. It has nothing to do, in my opinion, with the design of the airplane or whether it's glow or electric or steam or nuclear or two chipmunks on a turntable powering it. It has everything to do with 5 attributes. The airplane has to be built light, has to be built straight, has to be built rigid, and the straight and rigid work hand in hand, because if an airplane is accurate on the workbench but not accurate under load, it's not accurate. So it has to maintain its accuracy while flying. And then it has to have a proper power system, and that can be whatever you like, but it has to be reliable and repeatable and powerful enough to do the job and long-lasting. And then a fully adjustable, robust control system that allows you to both just neutral-ing of the flap and elevator, and also the elevator to flap ratio. And all 5 of those attributes are in any of the designs out there. They're all within 3% of each other. It's going to be a good airplane. If any one of those is missing, it's going to be a caricature of an airplane.
You know, I have 4 of those 5. Because my Strega is 76 ounces, or excuse me, 74 ounces. But it has a real thick wing, so it can carry the weight well, and I have a big motor. And but it definitely is not a light plane, but that's what I got.
Well, that may be the next thing you have to work on, is keeping the weight down a little bit. I think all of our airplanes are so overbuilt. Just to get them together accurately on the bench, we have to use wood that makes them more wood than's necessary. And I think if we eliminate some of the wood out of our airplanes, the structure, and still keep the accuracy and the rigidity, that's the game.
You know, I figured it out. I counted up the ribs, and these cap strips are 3/16 wide. Well, back the way everybody used to build, they used to be a 1/4 inch wide, but by cutting these 3/16 wide, you save 2 inches of wood. You think 2 inches of wood? Yeah, a piece, ever how long this is, 2 inches wide is what we saved in cutting them a 16th off every one of these.
Here's the way to look at it. In my opinion, here's the way to look at it. I talked to Paul. Paul did some figuring, and he said we're turning nominally 15 to 16 G. Our model airplane, 16 G. Okay, so that makes it real simple. An ounce becomes a pound. When you turn a corner, an ounce becomes a pound. So if you think in those terms, you won't start thinking ounces anymore, or even grams. You'll start thinking grain. You know, taking grain. And it's a lightweight consciousness. The more you think that way, and you look at each part and say to yourself, is it strong enough to do the job it has to do? Is it light enough? Is it too light? You know, is it going to be weak? And if it's too heavy, you can make it lighter. If you look at every component in the airplane that way and think in grains instead of grams, you'll build lighter airplanes.
Yeah.
Save 16, you save a gram, or save an ounce, you're saving 16 ounces in a corner.
Yeah.
It's like a sport car.
Sounded very sage, didn't it?
It's like the trailing edge sheeting. If you cut them 3/4 of an inch wide instead of an inch wide, how much are you saving? Well, you're saving one whole piece, one side of one piece, the whole length of the wing.
Right.
3/16 square spar material instead of 1/4 inch. How much are you saving? You're saving one spar.
As long as it's strong enough to prevent the wing from breaking, or even bending when it's covered with silk cement and you lift the wingtip, you know.
I'd probably use too light a spar material in this, and that's why I got a little flex. But
Mark, he was doing before, he was lifting the wingtip.
What?
I said that's what you were doing before, lifting that wingtip. I'm thinking,
yeah, you know, I'm sure they all do it.
Yeah.
I suppose when you build the model and it's flexing, then you know you've gone too light and you've got to stiffen it up a bit.
There is no such thing as too light.
It's just when they tell you your wings flexing in flight, then you know that you've gone too light. And
You just didn't build it right.
yeah, I've got one model like that where it flexes in flight, but I think it's my covering. I've used a an iron-on covering, but it's just too thin. If I'd used like a combat mylar, it would have been rigid and a similar weight. Wouldn't have had the glue on it. Whereas if you use monocoat or solar film, any of those have got the adhesive and the pigment, but if you use like clear monocoat and then just sprayed over it, you'd probably have a lighter finish than using.
Speaking of finishing in monocoat, at the Nats this year, I went up to the pylon racers. And there was a guy there that he was phenomenal at monocoating. And I brought my Monado out and I showed him my Monado. And it's a big airplane. It's got a 7-ounce finish, you know. And he told me, because I asked him, I said, if I could get monocoat on like that, I would use monocoat. He said, why? He said, dope is lighter. So I guess dope is going to be lighter.
The only thing is how much dope you've used and how you've gone.
You have to stand away from the can.
Yeah. Well, your idea of using a fixed weight and saying you can only use 1, 2, how many ounces of dope and no more. At that point, you stop. You can thin it more, but you can't add more. It's that discipline I think that's missing.
I just bought 6 more quart mason jars because when I go back to Dayton, I'm gonna go over to John's house and he's gonna finish his airplane in my method, where you get 1 quart of dope and 1 quart of clear, and that's all you get. 1/2 pint of color, and that's all you get. So you didn't, like you say, well, I'm out of paint. Well, you're done.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Charles is making me hungry.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Bob.
I'll tell you the phenomenal finisher, and I wish I could do it. And I bought Bob Hunt's tape, and it's got that guy on there that does Japanese tissue. But the guy that's a phenomenal finisher is Jerry Phelps. His Patriots are finished with Japanese tissue, and they're quite old now. But Japanese tissue has more strength this way than silk span than anything. It's unbelievable stuff, and it takes less dope. I wish I could do it.
Werwage uses nothing but Japanese tissue.
What's that?
Werwage uses nothing but Japanese tissue, and so did Bob Gieske. He used all Japanese tissue on his wing.
I can't work with it. I watched that guy that you got that tape, but I can't do it.
That Mike Spedalier, who does the transparent finishes,
right?
This stuff is beautiful.
I don't know how he did it. There's no seams in it.
No, well, he had a technique where he would wet it, it would swell, and then he would put the seams together as they were drying, and just as it dried, the seam went together perfect. He's crazy. I mean, it took him days to do it. Fortunately, he went back to bass fishing, so we don't know.
Anybody that wants to see how to paint a pilot needs to buy Bob's Don Typod tape on painting a pilot, because that guy's good too.
Got myself a salesman here.
All right. Yeah.
Well, that's the reason why I don't, remake those type videos, is because you've already done the work. So why try to reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, well, that one was Don Typon. He passed away, unfortunately. He was a true fine artist. So he did those painting of pilots. He made it look easy, But I tried it, and it worked for me too. I don't get the results he got. He was a fine artist. He passed away, and they didn't find him. He passed away in his house, and they didn't find him for 2 weeks.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, heck of a nice guy. And the other guy we had doing the Japanese tissue thing was Larry Cruz, a free fighter down in Oklahoma, and he's another fine wrestler.
You know who the best pilot maker is, don't you, Bob?
Who?
Tommy Looper.
Is he? Yeah.
He carves them out of wood. They look like real people. They don't weigh anything. They're unbelievable.
I'll be sure and take a look. He brings his planes to Huntersville. I'll be seeing him in October.
Yeah, ask him to show you a pilot. Those
Yeah.
are not Williams Brothers pilots. Those are hand carved, and they're beautiful.
Wow.
That's some work.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Well,
All
why
right, guys, my phone's about to die, so see y'all Monday night. And thanks for having a show in my absence. And y'all have fun, and we'll see you after the weekend.
That line.
Good night.
All right, Rusty.
I've been doing painted on canopies in my airplanes for years, but there's actually completely detailed pilot and instruments, and the whole thing is all completely detailed under the paint. Trust me, all there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm painting my canopies on now. Saves about an ounce. So I mean, I got a pilot in this one. Matter of fact, this was using the Don tripod system. I don't know if you can see it, but darn.
Yeah, that always happens to me too. You lose it.
I hate when that happens.
Always falls down behind something, you can't find it again.
I don't know if you can see this pilot or not. Kind of dirty, but we'll get it over here and see.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's sharp.
Oh yeah.
But that's the Don tripod method. Let's see, got some light. There we go.
There we go. That's better. Yeah.
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 Don would be proud of you.
Wow, it's really nice, Sparky.
That's
Boy, this thing's dusty.
When you click on somebody, you get the little, white, frame around it. How do you get that off again? Do you have?
Click on them again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now what happened to the hook?
It fell on the floor.
Yeah, I saw it fall on the floor, but I didn't see where it went.
hate it when that happens.
It always happens to me. I've got them all hanging on hooks all around the room.
Yeah, you're lucky you don't have a hook fall through and go through a wing, Gerald.
Sorry?
You're lucky to have a hook fall off and then go through a plane.
That'd be aggravating.
Well, I've got them all around. They're all around the room, hanging all around the room. So on every wall, there's another plane hanging. So when they come down, sometimes it's a big disaster.
Wow. Hey, Gerald, I was listening to the news out here. In California, we having all these fires.
Yeah.
And they're firing coming from all over. Matter of fact, there's a couple of firemen from New Zealand that are helping California fires. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to know they can help, but they often are. I think they probably like to know that they're able to contribute and they can fight fires wherever it's needed, because you often hear about them fighting fires in America and Canada and going to Australia. But Australia is really dry now. They've got some severe droughts there, just like they had in Crete and Cyprus and these places. It's just pretty extreme weather. Are they close to your house though, Charles? Are you?
Well, there was two more fires. There's one out in Ramona, and then there was one not too far from me. I live near the not the San Diego Zoo, but the San Diego Wild Animal Park. I'm not too far from there, and there was a fire over near there, and I believe it's contained. Is that right, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, that was a couple days ago. For me, it was yesterday. Long time.
Yeah.
How close is that to Dave's place in Ramona?
I meant to, speaking about Dave Sabon, Bob, I don't know. I haven't called Dave, but I was curious because the fire was in Ramona.
Yeah, I don't know what side of Ramona it was on, though.
Yeah. I went flying today, and sometimes Dave gets there before I do and then leaves before I even finish setting up. But I didn't see any evidence that he was there. So I don't know if he actually came flying today or not. I guess that'd be a good thing for me to do, at least find out if he's okay.
Well, there's a good flyer. He's a real good flyer.
Yeah, he is. That's the one benefit I've had is for the last. I've been flying with Dave Sabon for about 15 years. So I've watched a really good expert pilot fly week in, week out, and so I've seen how it's supposed to be done.
He's good.
Quite inspiring having a good pilot to teach you at the start and show you where it's at. And I was lucky to have Dennis Tristram and Dave Wright, they were two really great New Zealand pilots. Dave Wright's still flying, but it was before I had that that influence, those people to tutor me. Oh, I was just flying everything. I was doing the pattern as I thought it should be, according to my little Cox manual that came with my ME 109 Super Stunter. And he got the entries and exits all wrong, and you just didn't know how to interpret those maneuvers until you saw somebody fly it properly. Well, that's back in the 80s.
I was real lucky. I grew up around a lot of good flyers. Larry Scarinzi and Red Reinhardt. Red worked with my dad for 32
Yeah,
years.
he was very blessed.
Yeah, I was
Still
very
are blessed.
and of course then Bill Simons and Gene Schaefer. Well, Gene Schaefer really was probably the biggest influence in my life on flying. He was a big pilot, and I flew with him an awful lot. So that was a lot of fun. That was very beneficial.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish Dave had the heart to coach. He doesn't want to coach me, but I'm not saying he's not giving me some advice. He does tell me from time to time. Gives me some critiques. But it's not like coaching me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I take videos of myself flying, and I come back and review and watch it. And I've judged a little bit at contests, so I've gotten some instruction on judging. So I'm kind of learning what it's supposed to look like.
Well, don't be afraid to ask Dave for help. I mean, I'm sure he'd coach you if you ask him.
No, I've asked him.
Really?
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, he does come up with. He'll say something, "Hey, Charles, this is do this," and that was good, by the way. But you need to do this, or But it's not like like having a coach where they're it's ongoing. It's really sporadic, and I just tell him thank you whenever he critiques me. But yeah, he's actually deferred me to ask someone else to coach. But unfortunately, that individual is having health challenges right now. But I'm not alone. I mean, most of us guys coming up who are flying, I mean, it's like you live way too far from the next expert, and they probably would love to help you, but it's just not in the cards because they're too far for them to coach you. Or then you have instances where you have no one near you who can fly. I know there are other people in worse shoes than myself. I'm just fortunate that my flying side is so close that I can go out there and fly quite often. Of course, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure I'm trying to do the best I can. But it would be better if I had someone coaching, critiquing every flight. No doubt.
Practice your mistakes perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfect mistakes. Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah.
I can't even fly with you because of my job. You guys always fly on the weekdays when I'm working. It's hard for me to get out maybe once a month to get a flight in.
The guys in Dayton want to fly Tuesday night after work, and Jerry, the boss there, that's why I'm working there. He goes, "Come on out, it'll be fun." Man, you've been sitting in the air conditioning all day long. I'm dead at the end of the day.
Does Joe Reinhardt ever come out?
Oh yeah. I'll probably see him Sunday.
There's a builder.
Do you ever see his Cycle 6?
Yeah.
That thing's beautiful.
That Grumman Guardian he has, that's gorgeous too. That Grumman Guardian.
Yeah.
It does look nice.
Oh well.
There's a bunch of old flyers that come around the Dayton area. That's a pretty stronghold place for flying. We'll be up in Detroit the following weekend.
We're going to Dayton to the Nationals there in Dayton, right packed years ago, 78, 76.
They got a nice field, 2 paved circles and 2 grass circles. It's a pretty good place.
That's still the same one that's downtown Dayton next to the towers?
No, they got a different field.
That was a horrible field. We had a team selection there in 75, and it was like flying a mixed bed.
You ever fly at Booter Park?
No, when I've gone by it a number of times, I'm heading out to VSC. I see it down off the 40 or something.
44. Oh no, it's 44. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy and I, we took 10 trips together out to VSC, and every time we go by there, we saw it. We never stopped. I guess he's flown there.
And they had the Nationals there one year. They had the FAIs there one year.
That was back in the 60s, wasn't it? Or early 70s?
Early 70s, I think. We got a permanent speed gauge there, so.
What, Mike?
I had watched or looked at the Stunt News thing, the Stiletto Chronicles, and I think that would have been 73 that was there. At least according to Les McDonald. And he did not like Booter at all.
Well, no, 75 was a Dayton. 73. Was 73 out at Cleveland? Or was that 70? I guess that was 70. Or 71.
Well, I'm hoping the VA will do some stuff so I can actually finish building some stuff and at least go to the Nationals once to watch. Because I've got nobody flies near me. I'm about as remote as you get.
Where are you located?
I live about 10 miles west of Trinidad, Colorado.
Wow.
At about 6,100 feet. So with this plane being heavy, I have no idea if it's even going to fly.
Trinidad in relation to Denver?
Trinidad is about 200 miles south on I-25. The exit nearest to my house is exit 11.
From where? 200 miles from where?
Denver. Oh. South. I'm right at the New Mexico border, pretty much.
South through Golden and then on down, right?
Yeah, I'm way south.
You'd be closer to go to the VSC.
Yes, I would.
I
Probably
for a short while.
Jason. Jason's managed to get him.
You're showing up.
Yeah, I got him.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry.
He's got your camera sorted.
Hey, Jason.
How's it going?
Jason.
Yeah.
It's the Jason.
I live in an old coal mining camp.
Wow.
That they actually, when they closed the coal mines down, they allowed the
He seized up.
Needless to say, my heating bill was outrageous. It's an old center block house with no insulation.
Well, you could do
1906.
Well, Michael, one thing you could do is video some of your flights and post them up on YouTube or put a link to them on Stunthangar, and we can
ever
watch
get a plane done or flyable, I might do that with my phone.
That's a good way of critiquing and comparing.
Yeah, I have nothing flyable. I have an old flight streak my dad had that I'm having to do some work on, and I'm building two different airplanes. Neither of which are close to being complete yet. I've had too many distractions in life lately.
Yeah, life does get in the way sometimes.
Yeah. Especially with, I turned 60 in a couple weeks, and my health is going ridiculously bad for the last 3 or 4 years. I have no idea why.
Make the best of what you got. Do the best you can with what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even 60 and have been battling blood clots, DVTs for the last 3 years.
You didn't sniff enough paint.
Just count inhaling Imeron with a buddy painting a motorcycle count.
No, you got
headache for a week.
That'd be the good day.
Oh man, was that horrible! I had a ongoing headache for a week after doing that.
Yeah, Imran, I hear is great.
Why? Yeah, that's bad stuff.
Dope glues your brain together.
Does
Hold it
lacquer?
together.
Does lacquer?
Yeah, lacquer's good. Got to be inhaling those whiffs of Ambroid and Aerogloss, and I still have a tube of Ambroid around here somewhere. Ah, here it is. I do.
My dad had a tube of it in his junk, but I finally,
but the new
I
Android-
couldn't deal with
the new
$140 a month.
This is the use for Ambroid. I take this out and I squirt it on a stick and I set it on the bench and I put it back.
Let's make it smell pretty.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. I wish I had some to do the same thing. I miss that smell.
Yeah. I've got my little bottle of balsa cement, but I very rarely use it. Just to repair covering where something's torn. Or maybe to fit cloth hinges. That's another use for balsa cement. But yeah, it's hard to think of a use for it now.
You guys ever use Duco cement?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff sounded great.
Yeah,
I
it's
never did.
still available. I bought some. I haven't used it yet.
We used testers if we were doing plastic or that
I
kind of stuff.
think this Ambroid is that tube must be about 15 years old. I think it's losing its potency.
Keep trying there, Bob. Keep trying.
It doesn't have the wafting odor that it used to have.
Yeah, do it also at a time, then switch.
Yeah, just put it in there and squirt it in.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
But I do have a can of Aerogloss that I open up, once in a while too, just to get the old model smell back in. When you go into the AMA, Bob knows this. I don't know how many of you guys have been there. They have a hobby shop inside there, an old 1950s hobby shop with this mannequin behind it, and they have all kind of stuff out there. They got Vico and Dubro, not even Dubro, Perfect, and all these racks and all these kits. They need to take a can of Aerogloss and open it up behind that table. So when you walk in there, you really not only get the sights, but you get the smell.
But one thing,
I know, that's true. Yeah.
Marky, that's not actually a mannequin behind the counter in that hobby shop. That's an actual 1950s proprietor just stuffed.
Yeah.
Remember that?
They have all the old Comet models. They have everything. It's Gallows kits, Comet. They got the green box Nobler in there. All kind of stuff.
Comet and Enterprise and all those kits and Strombecker.
Yep.
wow.
Of course, they have that engine case
Jason, what do you
there. I don't know if
quiet,
Good
Jason?
Lord, yeah, there's a lot of mechanisms in that thing.
Jason, you're being very quiet.
Looks like it.
I'm just soaking it up, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? How have you been? You been okay?
Yep, doing well.
Haven't seen you in a long time, so
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to it.
me too.
still flying your gray Impact.
Actually, I've got a new one. It's an Impact, but it's new. Newish.
Newish.
It's about a year old now.
Yeah.
The gray one was ready for retirement.
That was a good flying airplane.
Do you follow these Hangouts much, Jason?
I've watched some of the replays. I haven't ever joined in on the live one. It's the first time joining, so
Yeah, me too.
It's
pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of guys around the country don't have anybody to talk to in stunt or whatever, so this kind of gives us a place to meet twice a week and talk about nonsense. Usually when I'm in Dayton, I'm just too tired to get on here, so I'll come in and say hello, but I can't stay on this late. Tomorrow I do have to drive, so I'm probably going to end this here in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You guys can hang out, but I got to get up and drive.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the forum. It's very, very good for us here in New Zealand and other places where you can't talk with modelers easily. I live in a rural area, so there's nobody around here that flies other than family. But we normally go in once on each Sunday and fly with the other club modelers, and it's nice just to have somewhere where you can talk and communicate with others. It's hardest, I think, when you're on your own.
Well, we do have the other site. You know, YouTube's been talking about taking away this Hangout business for quite a while. It shouldn't even be here right now. I'm not sure why we still have it, but when they do, we'll be on our other site that I've made, but it won't be recorded. The only way I can record that is through OBS and then re-upload it, and it, you know, it's just a lot of work. So.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten OBS figured out a little better? Or?
Oh yeah, I've broadcasted with OBS before. That's not a problem. It's Rusty that has the problem with OBS.
Hey, Rusty, I mean, Sparky, American Bulldog Rocky, he had a question. He asked for us to answer it. So the question is, so a paint supply shop will match a sample Humbrol color if I give them clear light coat, and it can be top coated with light coat with no compatibility issues?
I wouldn't use light coat. That's a different dope. I would use just regular clear butyrate dope as the binder and have them put the pigment colors in there. But we have where I work, we have a paint mixing station, and what they do is they have a formula. They open the book and it tells you how many grams of each color of toner to put in the binder. And Bob Brookins, if anybody has a question on mixing paint, Bob Brookins is probably the best one to talk to. He's a professional auto body guy, and yeah, they can mix any color that you need, but you got to use the dope as the binder instead of the urethanes and the enamels. But all the toners are the same. I guess it comes like red is made of bricks or whatever they grind up to make that red color, iron or whatever.
Yeah, Bill's been doing it that way. Werwage has been using toners in clear for 50 years. That's how he gets all those unique colors that nobody seems to be able to find. He just goes and buys auto body toners, puts them in dope, and sprays them. It works great. Now that was back when they had acrylic lacquer. Now I don't know about the new toners, which are polyester based. I don't know if they're going to react with dope, but I think
that's why I kind of hate to mention that. So if anybody has any real question, call Bob Brookins, and he can be found in the Pampa directory.
But I think it works. I mean, I've seen people do it. They cover it with clear and people work fine. I think that stuff's pretty American.
Well, listen, if Tom Creasy can paint his airplane for $1.95 with acrylic lacquer craft bottles, I don't see why you can't add it.
Chris Lella used to do that too. He used to mix up acrylic, water-based acrylic lacquer, acrylic paints, and paint his airplanes that way with a little airbrush, and then he put clear over them, and it looked great. But the problem is, you and me would start to fade the paint quickly, so they would dull out pretty quick. But they were beautiful. He had all kinds of neat airplanes, and they were light, very light.
Yeah, it sounds like what I'm going to have to do when I get that thing ready to paint is get the Tamiya acrylics to get them to match them, because they sell, Tamiya sells pretty much the right colors. But that's about the only one I know about.
I don't claim to know everything. I just claim to know where to get all the answers.
Yep.
That's good enough.
That's more than good enough.
Roughly
I
when you
think I'm going to head for the barn too. This leg's starting to swell. So
All right, Michael. See you later.
Good night.
Good night, Michael.
See you again.
Yep. Good to see you all.
I'll tell you a little story about the answers of the questions, and don't be afraid to ask. Now, this is a Johnson header, side to rear, Super Tiger 60 header.
Can I have it?
No. This is the last one in existence. But it's bent and has no kinks in it. Well, I tried to bend pipe, and I couldn't figure out how to bend it without kinking it, even with a mandrel. So I called NASA in Florida, and I said to the guy, I said, how do you guys bend that tubing for the space shuttle? Well, first the lady said, I told her who I was and what I wanted to do, and she put me through to an engineer or some other guy who answered the phone down in the shop. And I said, can I talk to the engineer? So anyway, I asked him, I said, how do you guys bend this tubing and not kink it? He said, we fill it with liquid nitrogen. I said, well, I don't have access to liquid nitrogen. He said, well, another way you can do it is with bismuth. Has you guys heard of bismuth?
No.
No, but there's another thing called Serobend you can put in there.
Bismuth is a low temp metal that melts with hot water. Yeah. So you get this, the guy sent me an ingot of bismuth. And you put it in a container and then put that into the water, into hot boiling water, and it gets liquefies. You plug one in and you pour it in there and you let it cool. Yep. Now you have a bar that's solid. So you bend it and it doesn't kink. Then you take that pipe and run it under the hot water and pour the metal out of it.
We used to do that all the time on a product called Serobend. It was the same exact principle. Serobend.
But the thing that I want to know is, now that I know how to bend it, how do they solder it? I don't think that's welded to the flange. I think it's soldered.
That's probably a heliarc.
No, it can't be heliarc because there's no bead on it at all. It's like it's sweated on there.
You do get an aluminium solder. I've used it before. It's like brazing, but with aluminium, special aluminium soldering rods.
I have not seen anybody who can heliarc. There's no bead on it. I mean, that has to be like sweated on there, like brazed.
Yeah. Well, you can buy it. There's an English company that makes it, and I bought it locally. So if I can buy it here, I'm sure you could get it there. And you can
I don't know about that.
It didn't use a flux. You just did it straight, but the materials had to be absolutely spotless. Otherwise, you just couldn't get it to bond. I've welded aluminium. I used to work for welding specialities for a while. I trained with them, and I've welded aluminium. But the aluminium solder does work, but it has to be absolutely spotless, no oxide on it. And you've got to be careful you don't oxidize it with your flame. So it's not easy to use, but I dare say once you get it right, it's clean. It's a very tidy joint, but it is tricky. But
I'm not sure whether Scott Dinger does that on his stuff. I think his are all machined, all his stuff that he makes. But
we used to make a lot of them when we were doing those 45-degree angle things with Robbie's airplane. We had those Weber's, and then we put in the HP40s. We had to go from a side-mounted engine, side exhaust, side-mounted engine, to a rear exhaust pipe engine.
Right.
A number of those things. We used that Serobend, and then we did a little fixture, and then we heliarc. It worked fine.
I have an OS-32 in my Nobler, and I have pictures on the forum of my Sorcerer that I flew in '89 and '90, but it had an OS-32 with this header on it.
Yep.
And you think, well, how could you get that header to work on a pipe? Well, you turn the engine at a 45 degrees. So the engine was rotated in there on a radial mount, RC mount, and the head was stuck down this way, and the pipe went straight out down the fuselage. That worked real well.
The first thing we tried was those things. I had about 2 dozen of those lying around here. If you need them, I got a bunch of those.
These here?
Yep.
Huh?
They didn't work like we needed a bigger tube though. That was too restrictive.
Right, but this is for a 32.
Yeah,
So
but it's still too restrictive even for a 32. The way we were using them, so we made our own. But that's what we tried first, and it worked okay. But we made our own after that.
then Bob McDonald made me a header for my OSFP 40 and my Viper 4, where I had the I don't have that engine anymore. This is a Merco, but it'll give you the same idea. I had taken the flange of the engine and angled it so that, or this way, so that the header sat on there in a crook. And then McDonald made me a header that came out and went around that way, and that worked pretty good.
Yeah, Werwage had the first GeoXL was actually an airplane called the GeoMax, and we finished it and turned it into the GeoXL. And that was a side pattern engine, an OPS, and he had to go from side to rear, and McDonald built him a header that did that too.
The only problem with that header was it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
If you needed nose weight, it was perfect.
I suppose a lot of the gear related to pattern models, they were large models, and the weight wouldn't be such a big issue. Where nowadays, control line models would be a lot lighter than an RC pattern model of the 70s or 80s.
I don't know, Jason. What do you think? All this talk about headers and stuff. I mean, you know, do you miss any of that?
I don't know where to put it on. I mean,
Really, I don't know what they're used for anymore.
my motors don't have a flange for that. So.
Well, you're missing something there.
Jason, do you fly electric or do you fly glow?
Electric.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I switched over back around 2012, and I've honestly never looked back. So.
Yeah, I did it in 2005 and never looked back.
What made me look back seriously is let's go flying. No, I got to wait to charge the batteries.
I can charge batteries in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I can understand that, Robert.
Charge 6 batteries in 15 minutes. While I'm getting stuff back in the car, my batteries are charged, I'm ready to go.
I do a bit of both. But what Chris was saying, he said something like only 2 out of the top 20 places at the World Champs were glow. Everything else was all electric.
Yeah, top 5 were like 6 and 7 were glow. I think it was 4 glow in the top 50.
Yeah, really dying art now. But that's part of the fun now. It's just running a glow because you want to. And
Well,
so,
I think at that level you're looking to win the contest, and I think in order to practice, in some of the places they have to practice, they get much more practice time when they have something that doesn't make any noise. I think that's a big part of it in Europe, especially. I know that's a big part of it. You know, the venues to fly in, you just can't fly glow anymore, especially most of the day. I don't think it has much to do with the actual performance of the airplane. Either one could be made to work very well. I just think there's so many practical reasons to go to electric, especially in Europe, where they have limited flying field.
most of all the guys flying stunt here are all flying electric. All the better flyers. We've got ones like me where I'm on the bottom rankings, and I do a bit of electric, but most of all those that are flying competently have chosen to go electric just to be competitive. But I like flying a few vintage models as well. I like my old Ringmasters and things, and I love the sound of a glow, especially a diesel. I love running a diesel, even if it costs my elbow trying to start them. I like running them.
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate because where I fly at, all the pedestrian traffic and all the picnic areas on the other side of the park. I'm flying on an athletic field, and there's hardly any pedestrians over there, so I'm not a nuisance to anyone, to my knowledge, anyways. And I think that's why I've been able to fly so much, because I don't have any restrictions. I fly glow all the time, and it's been working for us. But we did have a park we was flying a couple years ago, and the noise, we had pedestrians and they didn't like it, and they got us kicked out of there. But since I've been flying where I fly, I have no problem. I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed to be able to fly unencumbered. But I usually fly during the week. I work at night, so I fly during the week and the mornings, and no one's there at the park, and no one cares. So I've been flying there for like 4 or 5 years now.
I know my flying field is a quarter mile from my house. I got a good field there, and but I used to be able to fly glow there, but now I can't. I have to fly electric. I don't mind if you fly electric.
Yeah, if that happened to me, I probably would switch to electric, because there is I can't tell you how many flights that I have flown my Strega and getting my Strega tuned. As far as the engine, the upright, inverted, all kind of things I've had to deal with. Where for the electric, I probably would have had less trim flights as far as that regard.
Yeah, well, when you fly inverted with electric, sometimes they run faster one way. You got to move the battery up and down so they fly even.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been fun. I'm gonna sign off. You guys can hang out if you want. I don't know how long it lasts after. How long does it last after I leave, Charles?
Hours. We can talk. We usually get tired. We've never had it cut out on us, right, Gerald? Yeah, I mean, we can go as long as we want to go. We usually just get tired, and I've talked Steve Hines to 3 to 4 in the morning with him. I mean, his time. So yeah, we've been able to stay as long as we want.
All right, guys. I have a long drive.
Say hello to Jerry for me.
All right, I will. So see you guys on the next time. Fairwind Skyline.
See you, Robert.
See you.
Yeah. So.
Come on.
So we got some guys sticking around. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, why not?
Come on.
Well,
oh wow. What you got there?
I load out my blocks while listening to all this tonight.
Wow, man, that's good to be productive.
Yeah. I haven't been able to do anything in my shop because the wall has been flooded out twice already. Then my air conditioner broke, and finally I can do something this weekend. Hopefully I'll get this Almost American put together.
Good.
Yeah, very good.
If you can just keep chipping away at them when you find time, they make progress. It's just when you have to walk away from it completely that nothing happens. But an old modeler used to say that to me. Just said, even if you can just do like an hour a night, just progressing slowly. You're moving slowly, but it's still happening. So I always try and put in an hour go each day. I've got all the other jobs I've got to do. Try and squeeze some time in to get that building happening. But with the 2 boys and my wife flying, it's hard, because if somebody crashes something, then you've got to put time into repair work and then try and keep the projects rolling along at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've fallen off the horse. I was working on my Pathfinder, and then my Strega kind of got my attention, and so I've been working on my Strega, and I haven't been working on the Pathfinder at all. And yes, I need to get back on the Pathfinder.
Meet my little buddy here.
Big old retriever.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good looking dog.
Workshop buddy, eh?
Yeah, that's my buddy.
Oh, cool fart.
There he is.
That's Casey.
Hey, Casey, what's that?
Hey, Casey. You got some friends over there? Look at that. No, don't be. You picked up my guitar picks and try to see.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of dogs, Bob, I was at this guy's house, and he has airplanes in his living room, and he had a German Shepherd that was so athletic that it could run through the living room and avoid all the planes. I was so amazed at this dog's athleticism, and it was his building buddy too,
Well trained.
And I was like,
the airplane, but or the guitar. No, she'd not go with the guitar, but she loves to go out and she'll leap like 4 or 5 feet in the air. She's a golden retriever. She'll leap up to grab bolts out of the air. It's amazing.
wow.
But I got to be careful because she's still young. She's only a year and a half old, so she's still very rambunctious. You know, and airplanes and guitars don't.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I was curious, Bob. I know their guitars are readily available. So why are you building a guitar?
Just that's a good question. I just wanted to do it.
Okay.
There you go.
I wanted to give it a shot because it's very much like model building, except you don't have to be so worried about weight.
Right, right.
And we've got some instrument makers here in New Zealand that are modelers. Tim Webby is one that makes concert harps, and he's done that for a living for many years, and he's an absolutely brilliant model builder. And there's another guy that works on ukuleles and guitars, Adrian Hamilton, and he again is an expert at making violins and guitars and
a luthier. That's what they call a luthier. That's the person who makes stringed instruments. Luthier.
They call it a what?
Luthier.
Luthier?
Luthier, yeah.
Luthier, and that's one who makes all instruments or just guitars or?
Instruments, yeah, all stringed.
There's those crossover skills, and obviously anybody that can make an instrument is obviously very good with their handwork and very good with woodwork.
You can build a guitar or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, even like on eBay, I've seen some beautiful, what's the word? Like planes. These small planes that are used to build guitars and instruments.
Yep.
And it's like I look at it and I go, that would be great for work on an airplane.
You should go online and see if you can get their catalog sent to you every month. A place called Stumac, Stuart McDonald. They call it Stumac, STEWMAC.
You write this down.
There's a luthier supply house, and they have bazillions of tools that can be used in modeling. Bazillions of tools. I mean, it's just thousands of tools.
One more time. The spelling is what?
Stumac, STEWMAC. Stumac. Stuart McDonald. But they sure